Here. Okay. All right, and there it is. So, good thing. What's up, Omar? You checked in. I did say hi to you when we weren't speaking, but got to make sure we've got everything up and running. And as soon as I get verification here in 1, 2, 3 seconds. And there it is. Dude, we really need an engineer to just sit and chill, like just to have random engineer person there to handle.
Just like a guy off camera and.
Yep, and just chilling and doing stuff. What up, Omar? What's going on? Hey, everybody, this is the Bachelor Pad Radio, Facebook Live, Friday night edition. This will be the last show of the evening. We've done literal to no show prep. If there is a negative availability on show prep, that's the amount we would have done today. So that's kind of the norm.
It kind of is at this point.
It really
it's like
is.
I just kind of roll in at like 9:29, and I'm like, all right, let's go.
Well, and the funny thing is, yesterday's show, I re-listened like throughout the day as I was posting it to YouTube, and same thing, YouTube, the Bachelor Pad Radio page. So I upload everything in post, right?
Right.
And some people on YouTube or whatever. So as I put it through and do whatever, I'm like, and I listened to it, and I was like, you know what? For not doing any show prep and just the overall. The way the show went and the random conversation was pretty solid.
So what you're trying to say is that we're just really good at our jobs? Is that what you're trying to say?
That could be part of it. Yes.
Are you saying we need to ask the boss for a big fat raise from zero?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's on a regular day, I'm going through and I'm going, okay, with the iTunes and just scouring the amount of videos with monetizing and whatever. And it's good because I'm glad we just mentioned that, because I am totally against the Facebook ad in the middle of when they start running ads in the middle of video. I don't know about you, and I'm just going to tell you what I do because it'll get me off track, and video A, video B. I'll watch hood kids fighting or, random car crashes or road rage, and I'll just be sitting, or I'll be on the hopper, and I'm looking through. And as I'm looking through, the ad starts. I do not wait through the ad. I don't care if I'm really enthralled in what's happening in front of me on that screen. I refuse, and I go, nope, nope. I'm sorry, I'm not going to watch the video. Now, I wonder if the video gets credit for like a full view or whatever, if like you stop watching it in the middle, or it doesn't matter, you made it a few minutes in.
That's interesting.
Because the advertiser is not getting a direct quantification of their product being made through the point being made through the media. Because as soon as it comes on, I kind of go, la, 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 I'm not listening and whatever. And I exit off my page and do whatever. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be one of your patsies.
So I figured out a trick today. I have one of the video streaming services not named Netflix, which kind of narrows it down to just two. So take your pick as to which one I'm talking about here and try this trick at home, And I figured out that if you're going through the browser, it has to have your location because it shows you targeted ads.
For sure.
So most of these ads, they have some kind of script enabled that says, if it's in this geographical area, play this version of the ad, yada, yada, yada. Well, the site only actually checks the first time you try to load it, whether you have your location on. So if you put the site in as like, yes, you can use my location, then immediately go into your settings and turn off all your location services, the site still thinks it's getting your location. And what you'll see during those ads is it'll have the countdown timer and it'll be like advertisement 30, 29, 28. But then it'll show a black screen that's like, we can't show your ad. You need to disable your pop-up blocker. And I'm like, I know maybe they're getting money for it, but maybe they're not. The point is, I don't have to listen to it. I can just sit here and I can like pet my cat for 30 seconds or get up and take a tinkle for 30 seconds and go right back to what I'm doing.
Well, and it's a weird catch-22 because understanding, and I realized it when doing radio in the past, that the only real dollar that's being made is your advertising dollar.
Right.
So you're getting paid by advertisers, and I know it's an acceptable norm, in the business side of it, but in that same token, Facebook wasn't. Like, I think like you give it like 2 or 3 years, people will get used to ads.
Sure.
But everybody that was ad free, I don't like it. or and you know they're not doing the ads at the very end because you're just going to click off.
Right.
But ads in the middle, I'm curious to, when you're scouring the dark web, maybe figure out, in the super smart area of the web that Jakey doesn't go to. I go to cat videos and boobs. But when you look through there, I wonder if I'm the only one, right? Because I haven't heard people gripe about it or mention it, but went on Facebook and I've just happened to, oh, this is cool. I watch, and then boom, I'm like, I really don't want to watch this.
Here's
another thing. Out of pure spite and slight, I will not buy what that advertiser is pushing. And the first one that did it was Audi. Every time you watch the video, they would have like a 5-second Audi, feel the drive, and a car would go by. And I'm thinking about the majority of people that are looking at stuff on Facebook and in general are not an Audi purchasing group.
No.
You, me, so-and-so.
I am not purchasing an Audi.
An Audi, right? They seem to be expensive. I know, it's an experience to drive one, at least from the advertisement, but I'm not going to. But yet I'm being force-fed that on a regular basis.
Right.
And now I'm not seeing Audi ads at all. So they probably went, well, dude, we did not get one blip on our radar
from targeting you.
From targeting me or anyone on Facebook. Not the place for it.
Yep. Well, it's interesting because while you're having this conversation, right, and this has been a conversation that has gone on, I mean, it's not just Facebook, right? Sirius XM radio, when that satellite radio thing first started, it was billed as the commercial-free radio because we're not giving it to you for free. You're paying a subscription, which means we don't need ads. Well, then they realized that, hey, business is still a thing. You didn't reinvent physics over here. You still need money, and the money is still in advertising. So then they got the advertising, and now you're just paying for all the crazy, cool shows you get with, like, Opie and Anthony and Howard Stern and whatever. Lately, I've been looking into a new thing, which is mining cryptocurrency instead of running ads. So there is some JavaScript magic that I really want to look into and like how the heck does this actually work, but it basically, instead of running an ad, you would play a video and the video would say, hey, would you like to see an ad or see no ads for the entirety of this, but lend some of your CPU power to mining a Bitcoin, and you're not actually going to get any of that Bitcoin. Now, most of us, myself included, would go, I'm just sitting here watching cat videos. Yes. I don't want to see ads. Just let me watch cats doing cat things. The company is now making money hand over fist because they're now using my computer as part of a giant network of nodes to mine this Bitcoin stuff, and I just don't have any ads, and I kind of like it.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer to be ad-free or at least make it something somewhat, somewhat topical-ish, right? I get it. I understand how the business, goes. I don't know. It would have been weird if it would have been, talk about it first and then, throw up a video where everyone's going to talk about why and how and whatever, to where you're at least a little more versed in why and how it's happening and whatever.
Sure.
But it's difficult. It's difficult to go up in price on anything. You see when, I'm a beverage guy. When Brisk went from 99 cents to 109 or 119, people, you're tripping over 20 cents, right? It's still economical for anything that you're buying in the volume realm, but people don't like to be moved up. And I don't like, because I use it as nonsensical viewing time. Right, it would be when I'd be looking at a stupid magazine or reading the back of a label or something. So when I do, okay, I'm not really reading anything. I'm looking at stupid videos, and you're trying to Grinch in on that. I don't like it. Now I think on the cryptocurrency side, people need to be again, educated enough. Like mining, what is this legal? If they're going on here, what is mining of cryptocurrency? I don't know. And this is from a layman's standpoint. I don't know what it is. And I'm mining and doing whatever. What does that mean? What is it doing? Is it harming my computer? Is it taking away from my bandwidth? Is it going to up my whatever? There's a ton of things. And I think if people were brought that, like, hey, if you do this, it will do whatever, and that'll give you ad-free content for everything you do, more people would do it. We just don't understand.
And that's definitely part of it, right? So, like, if I'm using your computer, I'm using it's kind of like thinking I'm taking some of your computer's power and pulling it away to my giant system of all these computers that I've networked together through this to say, okay, go mine this block. And mining is basically solving a giant, really freaking hard math problem to prove that you've done some kind of work mathematically to get the coin and yada, yada, yada. But it would. I mean, that's a very valid point, and there have been issues already with some companies that have, and I'm not going to name names, you can Google this and look it up, but some pretty big-time, big-name companies that have had programmers in their midst inject a mining script, and everybody who went to a website that started with an A and was very, very popular, and maybe I think one of the top sites ranked in the world, was having their CPU usage stolen. And this guy wasn't giving any of the money to that company that he worked for and that you were trying to use. It was pocketing. The guy was pocketing it and made like a ton of money. And the only repercussion he faced was getting fired. But at that point, it's like then Bitcoin exploded, and the guy's probably sitting on a beach somewhere laughing. So definitely a thing that you got to consider, and I think it would definitely help if we would educate ourselves on these things more anyway. But
well, and even if any of those crypto, remember what I kind of went, the cryptocurrency seems kind of shenanigan-y, because you'll get people online that are throwing out the, hey man, I just bought a Ferrari on, with all my cryptocurrency and whatever. And other people are like, wow, it is going up and we can see the scale and we can actually look at the scale is real, and nah, but you can't cash it out and you can't do this and whatever, to where I've had people actually ask me, and I'm by no means an authority other than the people that I know that are already vested in it, the little bit I've read, that you can't turn it into actual green dollars, right? It's still
There comes it. So I'm obviously heavily invested. There came a point where I had to then take stock of what it would cost to turn it into green dollars, especially when the transaction fees exploded as Bitcoin exploded, because they were capped at I think it was 0.01 Bitcoin, et cetera, et cetera. It became way too expensive for me to ever go through the exchanges, plus the amount of money that I'm moving around means the IRS is immediately going to be down my throat the second I move it anywhere. No bank will do it. No bank will be like, yes, that's a legitimate transaction, because it's still not regulated, and they still can be like, we're not accepting this. And
so, yeah, I
mean, it is a problem.
But. Right. So, but everyone, and I get a lot of people that are interested in investing, in investing and, and going to that side of things. And it's good, right? Because people are seeing, that there are other ways, and what do I do with money if I was going to take a section of my paycheck and put it into something. And that's great, right? I like to see young people interested, but right now they're only interested in this fairy tale of this magic thing that has no quantifiable value technically, that you can't, and and then they get caught in the trap of, well, dude, I did this and I just made $10,000, but I can't touch it. Why?
Yeah. I mean, 10,000 you could probably take out in small chunks, but it does get hairy. Now, if you're out there and you're thinking, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is going sky, I'm going to give you some free advice. Ignore Bitcoin. Do your research on what do these coins actually mean? What is the technology backing it? Read their, you got to do some pretty heavy research. Read their papers. Figure out, what is this coin supposed to solve? What am I actually investing in? And remember that this is just like the dot-com boom. 90% of these things are not going to exist when the bubble hits. Just like, cats.com didn't exist after the bubble hit because they had no product. They had no actual thing they're selling. Now, had you held Amazon when the bubble hit, you'd be making a ton of money right now. And that's what we're all chasing, is we're trying to hold the Amazons, the eBays, those companies, not the cats.coms. So there's your free crypto advice.
Yeah, and even what's the dude, the richest guy on the planet, super investor guy, Warren Buffett?
Yeah.
He was like, no, you don't.
Which is interesting, because Warren Buffett, in saying, no, I don't like cryptocurrency, told me to buy it.
Well,
because he also said, when everyone else is scared, that's when you should buy. And now he's the one who's scared, and I'm like,
and he came out against Bitcoin, like named Bitcoin, like no, blah blah blah, and did lean toward, hey, it's not, it's not completely, but it's not completely a bad idea, but definitely not this.
Yeah, which I agree with. I mean, all right, second piece of free advice: Bitcoin is garbage and will not survive the bubble. There is absolutely no technology actually backing Bitcoin. Other ones, yes, get into them, ride the wave. ride the Bitcoin wave too. Just don't expect that to be around after the bubble. Make sure that you're prepared at a moment's notice to pull everything. But definitely ride the wave of people coming in, probably just like yourself. Honestly, I'm probably going to make lots of money off you guys where you come in and you start buying up the Bitcoin and the price skyrockets, and I just go, and pull it out and buy coins that I think will actually make the jump from fad to reality.
Yeah, I'm just going to listen to when reality is coming closer into view, and then look at it. I can just sit and stare at Bitcoin and study it, and look at it, study it, learn as much as I can about it, look at what's going to be viable, and then when it does turn, I think there's viability in cryptocurrency. There wouldn't be as much going on with it if there wasn't. I'm gonna sit and watch it, right? Even if I went, oh, cool, I'm gonna put this and this, and I can't get my $10 out, I'm gonna be furious. I don't care if that $10 turned into $11 or if it turned into whatever. If I like the availability of going here, so I'll just pretend I did. I'll say I did and didn't. Stare at it, imagine that I did, right, and then look at how and mentally is it something I want to deal with? How intently do I want to watch it, and then go from there. We had some I put up one of the I look and there was a this guy Joshua Feurenstein or whatever, Golden Globes, blah blah blah, right? So he put up a comment of a bunch of the girls that were dressed in black. I'm not sure if you ever got a chance to watch the Golden Globes.
Wow.
But everyone wearing this, and it was like, Dear Hollywood, it's kind of hard to fight sexual harassment at the Golden Globes when you're all dressed like hookers.
Kind of like hookers going to a funeral.
Right. No, the funeral hooker, it's a thing. We watch Wedding Crashers, right? It was a thing. He might be a genius or he might be onto something. So I got some weird feedback on it that no, people are going to say that that's like saying she was asking to be raped because of how she was dressed, right?
Right.
Which is funny because I normally work in that realm of the farthest absurdity to make a joke. Like, hey, why didn't you just say you tripped and fell? Why did you say, oh, you fell through a pothole and, fell 38 feet and cracked your skull? Because it's absurd, right? Know that you could barely see it was a puddle, but you're being absurd. So when he mentioned that, I was like, right, but a sub-conversation about flaunting sexuality and then asking people to not notice it or mention it and not wanting to be known for sexual attributes, yet you are showing them off at the same time. It's talk-worthy, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going, I've had 3 people bring up the sub-conversation and the argument of, oh, well, you can't, that's like saying, well, she was dressed like that and rape. And I was like, no, point did I ever say that's stupid.
I hate that, okay? So it goes back to the whole, if you're not exactly lockstep in line with us, you're against us, and that's not true. I clearly don't think rape is ever right, and there's never a reason for it. There is no excuse. I don't care what she was wearing. I don't care how drunk she was or whether you thought she wanted it. I don't care. You rape someone, you are a dirtbag who needs to be put in a hole and forgot about for a while.
At any point, you ask, you talk, you do whatever, right? So then I had
we have slept with lots of different women in our days, and never have we raped someone.
Yeah, and been told no, in the makeout process.
Exactly.
And you stop or
and guess what? They can change their mind. Like, things are going hot and heavy, and they're great, and you take your pants off, and then she goes, actually, I have a boyfriend, and I was mad at him, and I got to go home. And I'm like, cool, I'll drive you home.
No, I'll be like, you're taking an Uber. I ain't gonna drive you home. I'm kind of mad.
Yeah, well, that's
I'm kind of upset. I was gonna take me a minute before I can walk straight, but
I'm a nice guy, so
yeah, it gets you nowhere. Just but, so you know. But
if you say something, in that same vein, right? If you say something like, well, you did kind of ask for it. Now, it doesn't make it right, but if you're a single, attractive young woman and you go out on the town with your girlfriends and all your girlfriends say, let's go home, and you're like, no, I'm going to stay out and party till 5 a.m. Woo! And then you go by yourself into a bad part of town and you find a bar and then you flirt with a bunch of guys and then go and walk down a dark alley to get home. You kind of made a ton of bad decisions there.
Oh, yeah. Bad decision making is
not saying
abound,
that in any way that what happens is okay, but maybe don't make so many stupid decisions.
Right. But and then, the world and society is, it doesn't matter what decisions you make, but there are bad
it
areas.
does.
Dude, and there is an epidemic like right now, and I'm going to go like almost borderline epidemic with the east side of Detroit right now is ridiculous. Like like when I watch TV, watch the news or look, and scour through the amount of crazy stuff of people getting shot and killed, people breaking in their house, random car crashes at 4 a.m, doing 90 miles an hour down a side street. Like, dude, it is a war zone. So yes, going over there and doing anything in that area, that's pretty much the ghetto Wild West at this point.
If you're gonna go, you're so in that scenario, right? You go out with a bunch of your girlfriends and you're downtown in the business district, by the nice businesses and all those cool shops, and your friends are like, okay, Kathy, we're going to go home. And you're like, girl, I'm still partying. And somebody's, one of those nice young fellows
that was
is
a great
like,
depiction, but go ahead.
I know,
That
right?
was great.
One of those nice young fellows is like, let's go back to my boy's house down on the east side. We're gonna go down to the River Rouge area, and you're like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea at 3 a.m. with guys I don't know, and then you wind up face down in a river somewhere. It's like, well, make better choices.
Yeah.
Not saying that it's okay, but make better choices.
Yeah, and alcohol
Think
is
about.
the the great equalizer in making horrible
Right.
horrible decisions. So then somebody else chimes in with, oh, it is talk-worthy, but it's bullshit too. Everyone's an effing victim now, right? And I'm like, exactly, and that's why we keep pointing out the the hypocrisy, so we can still be guys.
But
right?
we have to point it out at this point, not because we're guys, but because we have a freaking brain between our ears here, and
well, everybody's
if women were to start listening to us, okay? I firmly believe this. If women were to start listening to us and taking what I'm saying to heart and what you're saying to heart and going, gee, you're right, maybe don't make that decision. Maybe one girl doesn't put herself in a situation where rape is likely.
Well, see, but I'm not even talking about rape. You went on rape. So did this guy went on rape.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about rape, right? Rape, I've known plenty of people. I don't know a lot of people that have been raped, right? Maybe because I live in a normal area and it's not something that happens. Not to say it doesn't.
But then again, we also don't go down to River Rouge at 3 a.m. with guys we don't know. So
I don't know if there's a lot of raping in River Rouge. I don't know. We should check the demographic of where does rape happen more. Then again, I don't want to talk about rape. I don't even like the word. I don't know why you guys. We're talking about the hypocrisy of asking not to be sexualized or to be noticed in a sexual manner because we're all equal and whatever. But
for the record, you can absolutely sexualize me.
Yeah,
we'll
I think
we'll
there's
just
some people
put that
out there.
one out there.
I think there's some people out there.
I mean,
sexualizing
you're probably
that.
not going to, because let's be. I got this going on, and but if you wanted to,
chicks
I'm okay.
like tall dudes.
I'm okay with that, man.
It's a tall dude thing. I mean,
sexualize me.
Yeah, and and look, and there are females that say the same. They like to be looked at for their femininity, for their attractiveness, for their sexuality.
And I don't think those are the out of the norm females. I think those are the ones that are just telling the truth.
Well, and that's why
there's a reason you dress like that.
Right, and that's another thing with women where it's not all, right? You can't overgeneralize, and women need to know the ones who are saying this and that are so caught up in the movement, and that's a problem with a lot of movements in general, whether it be Black Lives Matter, whether it be whatever country. I feel like I was a slighted white guy, which seems to be like a big narrative across the United States right now. Whatever it is, you can't get too caught up in the one point of the movement to completely disavow logic and reason, right?
Which is where some of those aforementioned, like Black Lives Matter, right?
Well, Black Lives Matter. This whole thing with the, this whole thing with the, with the lady thing and the sexuality, and this was a point that I brought up that I felt strongly against, right? Everything cleavage, you're seeing, 1/4 boobage on all of these, and these were mild compared to what was going on. Well, then I get, nice boobs on them, though, right? There's a comment, and I, laugh out loud. And then, a female chimes in and was like, it's just boobs, whatever. Right. And I'm like, easy for everyone, says you. Maybe you're a little bit desensitized because you have them, right? That we live for them. And, and it just kind of, kept rolling on that way. So now, I will tell you on TMZ and a few other, because, I am a housewife during the day or whatever my existence is, watching all these daytime shows. And it's weird because there's starting to be a little backlash. Like, all right, look, you're getting a little out of hand. Like, I get it, but so they're actually saying it. Now, they're on corporate media and corporate sponsors and whatever, so they can't go. But the fact that they're not just going 100%. Like,
Right.
yep, everything's wrong. There are people that are starting to bend on the, come on, man, this is getting a little ridiculous. You're dressed like this, you're doing whatever, and yet you're saying, we're talking about, sexualizing and, what's going on in my head, but yet you're dressing like this, so how am I supposed to think? Look, it's a crazy situation. Then they'll move on. But they are beginning, the facade is cracking a little bit to where enough people are like, come on, man, this is a little bit shenanigan-y, right?
Right.
And the James Franco thing, that went on. They actually have people that have started to mention what was going on with him and what those tweets meant.
Okay.
So one of them was Franco with a God. It was Franco with like he had a teaching school or a teaching acting class and this and but they were only paying us this much to do whatever, and he hit on some girls and whatever. Right now, I don't know about you, but if you believe that that James Franco is not hitting on people, right? Like in my world, James Franco is like super stoner, whatever. He's he's hitting on people, right? He's James Franco. He's going to go, yeah, bro, what's up? Man, we should go do whatever. That's cool. No, I dig it. Dude, you guys want to go grab a dude? You're really hot, bro. Dude, your body's killer, right? Like there's all those things that are being said, right? And you feel comfortable enough in that, in that time frame. So some of and it's not even – now this is what's funny. They're changing. James Franco is being accused of sexual exploitation. So
oh God,
now it's exploitation that because you're attractive and you're doing whatever – and what they're saying is it was either said or it was understood that, well, cool, if you're doing this and you can't show up, dude, we'll just get another female to play this part or do whatever, that you're kind of interchangeable, right? So that's kind of a thing. Mark Wahlberg got roped into it because he got paid more to do reshoots of certain scenes when they took Kevin Spacey out of this.
Yep.
But he got paid for it and the other ones didn't, but it was contractual and it was in his contract.
Right.
Then he went, look, dude, my time is valuable. I've got another thing. If you're not going to pay me whatever to do this, and they kind of needed it, right? And that's why contracts are written.
But again, contract. Stop being mad at the director and start being mad at the stupid agent who didn't put it in your contract.
Right. Or here's the deal. If you're a new and up and coming, I don't care who you are, right? If you're new or you're young or you're not a name like Mark Wahlberg that's going to drain that, people get paid. If you're a Golden Globes or an Academy Award winning actor, you're going to get paid $15 million for this project, where other people are going to get paid 4 or 3 or
maybe not even one.
Right. So there's because he's a man, and it's okay. So because Al has a hat, because Al's wearing glasses, because you can just point out stuff.
Right.
But we're at a point where nope, that's that's one of the many, many attributes. But when you look at all the things combined, there is reason and whatever. It just seems everyone's quick draw McGraw for
right. And there are some real psychological things where people that are taller generally make more money. Yay me.
The more attractive you
are. The more attractive you are, the...
Yay not you.
Right.
Good
well,
joke.
that's where I was going to go with it.
No, that's funny.
But, we have gone to a point where it's if you hire a woman, you better pay her as much as the man in the company that makes the most money. She better be getting CEO money or it's going to come back and bite you. Which then would lead me to be like, guess what? It ain't worth the hassle.
Well, it's like work prenups, right? When you do, what it's doing is it's great for the overall legal system, right? Because now you're writing in you're going to write in job. You're going to have to say it out front, and you're going to have to agree to it, terms of service and terms of use.
Right.
Look, here's what you're being hired in. Everyone who's hired in at this point, whatever, raises will be doled out on performance, regardless of gender, race, creed, and whatever. And you're going to have to write it out so much that you're protecting yourself from the front. It's almost like a work prenup.
Right.
That is the deal. If I choose to give somebody a raise or not, it's based on performance.
Right.
And yes, if it's a pretty girl in here and guys are just ogling like, oh my God, bro, and they'll buy anything she says, she's producing more money. I'm going to give her a raise. Why am I going to give you a raise when you're adult and you just kind of go doo-doo-doo, right? You do the work, you come and you do the job and whatever, but you're doing the baseline set of the job.
Yeah.
This person, now, I can't help it that guys like chicks, and that this chick's pretty and she
Right.
talks to them, and probably the only chick that's talking to any of them in real life, and they're going to buy a bunch of stuff to.
Why do you think bartenders do it? Like, it's just the way it is. We're guys. We dig that. I don't care how happily married you think you are, or how you're in the greatest relationship of your life. If you go to a bar and an 11 out of 10 starts sweet talking you a little bit, you're going to buy the extra beer. And that's why they do it. They're not trying to take you home. But at least
you've just explained every time I drank too much at a bar.
Exactly. You're like, I'm gonna go in and have one, and then the pretty young thing behind the bar is like, oh no, we're having fun, and she does her little thing, and all of a sudden you're like, I am hammered, and I'm going to go home now in my Uber, and you don't know how that happened, but she made an extra $20 by doing that.
Oh yeah, and you're gonna tip better. You're greased
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
absolutely.
It's a thing. That's why I'm kind of nervous about the rest of my my activities for the evening, because I've got friends that are coming in from out of town, and whenever they do, I like to socialize with them. Right, I only get to see them on random occasions, so I'm going to do it. But there will be drinking involved, and I'd like to say, I'm going to go out and not drink. That doesn't happen, right?
I'm going to go out and have a soda pop.
Yeah, I'm Irish. It's going to happen. So if that happens, then there's a lot of drinking and whatever. So crazy town. Yeah, there we go. But there's another thing I posted on here. The crop dusting a cop, right? This was on one of the things that I was like, man, if I get hit with an ad in the middle of this, like, I'm not trying to sit through this and watch the whole thing. But it's a country. Now this is Missouri. Now, again, when I watch stuff, and this is kind of how my mind works, right? Like, a lot of people wonder how my mind works. I've had messages from girls that I talk to that I'm friends with. Well, you guys really, it's kind of weird how the guys' minds work and whatever. And I'm like, no. We're talking about a specific thing. There are 38 other points, but they may not be topical, or they may not be funny, or they may not be something that I'm talking about here on the mic that I'd be more than happy to talk about when I'm not in front of a mic. I'm not going to talk about every single, you and everybody else I talk to going rape, and me going, no, just the over sexual. Don't view me as a sex object, but you're damn near naked. Then put on clothes. What do you want them to wear, a burqa? I didn't go there either, but if you don't want this, then do whatever, right? So as I'm watching this is a country female, like, and kind of pretty, right? Her face is kind of trippy or whatever, but like there was pretty enough, and I went, oh, pretty chick, and they're talking about crop dusting. I was like, this chick farted and whatever, that'll be a funny story. It's a really long story. She's chewing tobacco. She's driving a diesel truck. And it's Missouri, right? Which is funny. Once you get out of any big metropolis or, metro area, the rest of the state is pretty country.
Right.
Chicago's the same way.
Outside of St. Louis.
Outside of St. Louis, the whole thing. Outside of Illinois. Illinois is like really long.
Yeah.
Like Chicago and everything here. And you go a little bit further, you're in Green Bay. You're in Wisconsin. But yoink, you go to the bottom, dude. That is some of the country
but farms.
Yes.
And
it's country as all get out.
Right. Like, now Michigan might be one of the least by proportion country places in the Midwest, just because we don't have just the one big city. We've got Detroit and Lansing and Flint and Grand Rapids and Saginaw and yada yada.
But you know what we don't get? And it's funny because even like Illinois, Ohio, everywhere going just south of where we're at, their country talks with a southern accent. Ish. Not 100%, but ish.
But a little draw.
Right. And it's noticeable. But the further you go north and west here, it's more influenced by Canadian and like Yooper, right?
Like, go to Minnesota, they sound exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
If Canada were to just annex Minnesota one day, nobody would notice.
Yeah. They just everyone just kind of assimilated right into the Yeah, we got
they'd just be playing hooky.
Throw out the blue. We're just red and white, right? So it's kind of weird. And this chick, dude, it was crazy. Dude, I didn't notice for a while, but she's chewing tobacco and in Missouri, and she kept mentioning Missouri, and I'm like, holy crap, that is. Let me see if I can. I'll back away from my side of the mic and.
I just had about the most embarrassing thing happen to me.
Can you hear that over there?
Gross. Grandma's gonna be proud. I thought I'd share this with you guys. Today.
Oh.
Something
That wasn't good.
Sweet dog ears is going on over there.
Makes your belly hurt. Get in the truck, head go somewhere. Driving like hell, like normal, fine. Well, I needed to, break wind.
My bad, people.
I'm sitting in here laughing, boy, 'cause it stings, boy. Woo, like the eggs or something. I don't know. Wishing I had a good buddy in here so I could hit the old winter lock button on him. And then I see blue lights. And I'm like, oh, here comes this state trooper up here. Now, everybody knows I like the police, but it's a state trooper coming. Wait, they're highway patrol here in Missouri. Excuse me, I'm gonna be correct here. Come walking up, and I just hit the roll down the winter button. The look on his face. Let me tell you, son, I've done a lot of stuff, been pulled over for a lot of things, but I ain't never had a state trooper go like that when I opened my window.
All right, so I think, and super sorry for the whatever that noise was.
Whatever dogs in Missouri were screaming.
We're just screaming. That had nothing to do with me. But just so you could get an idea of what that voice was, that oh my God, like. Did you hear that? Just super,
right.
And that's Missouri.
Yep.
Which isn't
that's
that further, south-ish, but yeah, it's really trippy, man.
But it's interesting because we can get that here, right? So I'll talk about, growing up and being stuck behind a tractor was a valid excuse for being late to class, and not just being late, but missing an entire class, missing your whole homeroom first period. You could absolutely get stuck behind a tractor where I grew up and do that. People be like, well, where'd you grow up? Like Texas? Kentucky? Like, no. One town outside Ann Arbor. You go one town outside of Ann Arbor or Lansing or Detroit, and it gets real country really quick. Now, Missouri, it's, in those other states, we have the interludes again of like Detroit and Flint and Lansing and Saginaw and whatnot. They're pretty much like Missouri, your big city is St. Louis. That's it. Tennessee, Nashville, that's pretty much it. Kentucky, Lexington-ish, kind of, but not really.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know how or why the voice, just that. Yeah, it's weird, and I'm sitting there and I'm just like, oh wow, that's so their voice, like, that is kind of weird. Like, and we're country once we get outside of anywhere. But yeah, even Toledo, you go outside of Toledo and you're in Ohio. I talked to somebody today with a country accent from Ohio.
Right.
And I'm like, how is that bleed over? And what kind of weird thing does it all just end right at us?
Right.
Like the Michigan border, like that's it.
Well,
that's where it kind of ends.
So I think what it is, and this goes back to like, genetics and all that deal, is that you talk like your parents talked.
Mm-hmm.
Going all the way back to the 1800s, you had a certain group of people who talked one way and a certain group of people who talked another way. And then one of those certain groups of people made a mass exodus northward, and a lot of them settled in Detroit. So that's kind of why we get, because then you had in the 60s and the whole, we're going to put them together in the same schools, and all of a sudden the accent kind of stopped. And that's where it is with me, is my parents don't talk like that. Now, pretty much everybody I grew up with did. So you take me to the bar, you put a couple beers in me, and all of a sudden there is a piece of hay in my mouth, and here comes the accent. But I definitely think there is something, and not that there's anything wrong with it or anything like that, obviously, but like there's definitely something there where you grew up talking like your parents, and that's a lot of times in West Virginia and Kentucky and Missouri, you grew up and mom and dad talked like this, and you grew up and this is the way you heard it spoken. So, you went to school and you talked like this, and everybody else talked like that, and you didn't know there was any other way to speak.
Yeah, and look, depending on where I'm at, because I've moved around a lot, if I'm in Texas, it only takes a very short period of time to, all of a sudden it's hey y'all instead of you guys, and let me get a Coors Light, light. All of a sudden your eyes go and whatever. Right. If I'm hearing it, I immediately kind of go that way. So yeah, it was weird. That was a horrible video though, dude. If you get a chance, like I need to start I put it on the Facebook Bachelor Pad page. So if throughout the day, if you get a chance,
I watched enough because I'm like, I feel like there is nothing good of my time that's going to happen with this. Like, all right, you farted. It was really bad. Now, did you get arrested? Because I might watch that. Because I might want.
Oh, you know what my thought process, and this is the inner workings of it. I got sidetracked after I heard that horrible noise. But her vote equals just the exact same as mine or yours or whatever, right?
Yeah. Think about that for a minute.
She's driving around and she's driving around in a diesel truck and this and farted and talking about Aunt Flo and chewing tobacco and whatever. How do you think she voted?
Yeah, right.
So
Bernie Sanders, maybe.
The overall understanding of there's more people either like that or that whether believe in the Bible more or this more or are just not at the same intellectual level. We would think that graduating high school and that being the leveling post that everyone would have a certain amount, but there's so many personal biases and other things that are set inside of that you have the exact same, and I don't know if I mean, and I know it sounds probably un-American and unconstitutional, but like your vote should count for like what your overall intellectual level is, because you just know more about things than others.
Ideally, yes, that's the way it would work, and then we wouldn't ever have to deal with like Hillary and Trump running against each other because they would have never stood a shot. But how do you who gets, and that's the problem, right? Who gets to create the test? Who gets to weigh the test? Who's scoring the test? How do we make it fair? It'll just never happen.
Right. No,
until it does in some alternate future universe, her vote counts just the same as yours.
Exactly.
Her vote's going to cancel out your vote, and there are a heck of a lot more of her than there are of you guys going to Yale and Harvard. Let's be honest.
It's really shenanigan-y, man. And that's how my mind
with it.
Huh.
She's not the person you're seeing on TV every year. I mean, just in my lifetime, it's like Trump, he had no chance, right? But he won. Bush had no chance to get reelected, but he did. All the polls were saying, oh, no, but the polls aren't calling her. They're calling me.
Yeah, it's really, it's really weird and really disturbing. And then like placating to the lowest common denominator, right? So I watched this thing, and what I'm doing today is I was really active on just posting stuff that I knew I would want to talk about instead of trying to remember what exactly I was thinking about.
Right.
So I see Speaker Paul Ryan on the House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi crumbs remark on tax reform. I'm sad and surprised that she would say this, and he goes into what and how, and it's kind of short. Now,
I'm never surprised at the things that come out of Nancy Pelosi's mouth. Surprised that people believe them, but never surprised that she would say that kind of stuff.
We are in a very, very partisan.
Okay, so
Democrats are going to regret not having supported this. I think it's going to do tremendous things for our economy, and unfortunately, we are in a very, very partisan climate, but that doesn't stop us from doing what we think is right to help people in this country and help this economy grow.
But as you know, Leader Pelosi is calling all of this, quote, crumbs.
Yeah, I'm sad and surprised she said that. To somebody working at Walmart at the starting wage who just went from $9 an hour to $11 an hour, I don't think that's crumbs. To a person, working paycheck to paycheck, just got a $1,000 bonus, that's not crumbs. I mean, 200,000 workers at AT&T got a $1,000 bonus. Comcast, just one company's investing $50 billion in America, in jobs, in expanding across the country. This isn't crumbs. The additional maternity leave at Walmart, the higher 401k plans. There's a business in Stevens Point, a small assisted living center in Stevens Point just announced bonuses to their employees. These aren't crumbs. You got to remember, more than half of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And so when they get something like a $1,000 bonus at Christmas time because of this tax law, it's hardly crumbs.
Okay, so a couple points just to give you an idea of how my brain works in this scenario, right? Oh, well, they just got a $1,000 bonus at Christmas time. Okay, $1,000. So $1,000 to an average individual that's living paycheck to paycheck is the equivalent of less than $100 a month, right? That's helping with a grocery bill or helping whatever, but it's not taking. And what I love when you look at, and I hate to use Republicans, but it seems to just be anyone that's on the high side of the haves versus the have-nots, that when they say that, it's like, okay, dude, $1,000 and that's great, whatever. Dude, are you kidding me? So, $87 a month, right? That will help you on your bills, but it's not helping them out of that, paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
It's not helping with any of these. Or how do we have over 50% of the country living, and that is not the case. It's more than that. It's more like
Right.
70% that are living paycheck to paycheck, whatever
yeah.
their means be. And it could be two young people that came out here and bought a starter house in Canton, and they're doing everything they can to pay it,
Right.
versus the people that are living in Shacktown that, still are living paycheck to
Right.
paycheck.
Still just trying to get ends meet.
And then, okay, so, what's funny is I love, and look, everyone does it. Everyone likes to take credit for things. Walmart was already beginning, it predated this, like,
Right.
oh my God, he said this and they did it the next day. It's just like the carrier job thing, right?
Right.
Walmart was already working their shift up to a higher pay rate than the $9 an hour, right? That was already happening. It had already been written way before this.
Right.
Then number two, they don't talk about Walmart just closed over and the amount of people that are being laid off by Walmart,
Right.
because it doesn't fit their model.
But-
Now, I don't want to say anything about anyone that has a business model, and it doesn't matter. The people are interchangeable parts, but they're closing down the certain amount of the Sam's Club, so they're laying off a certain amount,
Yep.
and then they're looking at hiring a certain amount, and then they're doing a little bit better here and there. But the average Walmart employee is not going to go, oh my God,
I have an
can
extra $2 an hour.
yeah, I can go like move out of this horrible area where I'm being shot at every day, and now I'm going to live over here.
Yeah.
That's what I hate is the disconnect
And-
from the
It drives me nuts, because it's like, yes, Comrade Pelosi thinking that $1,000 is crumbs shows just how out of touch she is. But I mean, we've known that for years. If you've been paying attention, you know this woman she's lost her mind 30 years ago. But for Paul Ryan to come out and Speaker Ryan to come out and be like, "Oh, it's great, it's $1,000," just shows how out of touch the other side is. Neither of you can see the freaking forest for the trees.
there are over 300 million people, right, in the United States. You just mentioned like maybe 3,500, 4,000 that got maybe a little boost
Right.
here and there. What about everybody else? Like, that's what I love and they leave it to the companies to do, and the companies will do well and they'll do right. And it's good that some of them
Yeah, some of them will.
are doing some stuff.
Others
but
will
it's
be
not,
like, "Yeah, cool. There's an extra $1 million in my pocket. Woohoo!"
Well, it goes back to the Republican thing back in the day where George Bush, right, and we're coming out of 9/11 and we're dealing with all this, right, that nobody wants to deal with, right? It's not
Right.
his fault. It's not whatever. It's crap. But that whole tax break, and everyone got like $130.
Right.
Go buy something and put it back in the economy. So if you take this whole money and everybody took that $130 and, got a tank of gas, a tank of gas, and gas was expensive at that time. You got a tank
Right, it
of
was
gas.
like $5 a gallon.
You go grab a doggone, you grab a meal at, McDonald's, and you pay your cable bill, and then cool.
There's
so it
my
just
tax break.
there it went, and it went back into the economy. So that money that was given, I doubt anyone saved that $130, right?
Right.
So it's
But it drives me crazy too, because it's like you almost got the point this time, Republicans. You almost got what Reagan was telling you, and why our economy skyrocketed under Reagan. Now, was Reagan the greatest person alive? Well, no. But the economy did skyrocket because he didn't. I mean, now you were alive during the time. Maybe you remember this. I don't know how much attention you were paying during the 80s, but he didn't cut taxes by 1%. He cut taxes. And you weren't getting $1,000. It was like $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 back in your paycheck, which even today is a heck of a lot more money than, I mean, that's, for some people, that's more than their car cost.
sure. And if you're
like-
fiscally responsible enough, you
Right.
can take that and parlay it into something.
Exactly. And where we've got now is we're like, yeah, cut taxes. But you're so far out of touch with just how far we need to cut taxes, right? So when we instituted the tax plan, it was 3%, and Congress promised America it would never go over 7%. There are people being taxed upwards of 30%, and then being told they're not paying their fair wage when they pay like 90% of the actual taxes of the country. Now, we can go to a flat tax where everybody just pays 10%, and we can save almost $1 trillion right off the hop by not having to have an IRS. and we could all actually benefit, but we can't see the forest through the trees to just take our hands out of our you-know-wheres and do it.
Well, and I hate to keep, because I've got an ongoing Game of Thrones thing that's happening today. That a dog, because we went dog crazy yesterday and talked about whatever. Dude, there's a dog I posted it on the Bachelor Pad, the Facebook page that looks just like the midget or the little dude
Okay.
on Game of Thrones. No, like uncanny. Like I was showing and they were like, yeah, kind of. And I was like, no, do a side-by-side, like, differential of both. Tell me that doesn't look like what's his face? Dude, that
Peter
looks
Dinklage.
Yeah, that looks like Dinklage, like, right to the T. Like it is bizarre and uncanny. Look at that face, and I'll do a side by side. Like, dude, if I had the ability to grab like another dog, I would, and I would call him whatever his character's name is in the thing, and I'd take him everywhere with me. He would be my, the hand of the king.
Right.
He would totally be my hand of the king. But
Well, you could call him the king, and he'd have 4 hands to the king.
That's right. And as I was going through, I was posting some of these things and doing whatever. So I got really heavy on it. I don't know exactly where I was going, but that dog makes me happy. I know that there was a point I was going for or trying to make, but I kind of lost it in that dog. Dude, that creature is something else, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't know where I was
Have
going.
you ever seen the it's like a whole meme category of like such and such looks like so and so, and it's like this hamburger looks like Miley Cyrus, but it's funny because it actually kind of does.
Yeah.
Those are hysterical. That's what you need to do. Is like, this dog looks like Peter Dinklage. Some of them are spot on, and I love it, man.
Yeah. No, that makes me happy. I really, I don't know, man. If I thought I could, I'd take that creature.
Yeah.
I would. And
So that's the way I feel. So I've got 2 cats, and I'm like, I'm not getting another cat. I don't have time. I probably could financially afford it, but like 2 is good. I'm fine at 2. I don't need to be crazy cat man.
yeah, it's easy.
But
It's
then
easy.
you go to Petco to get food, and you see them there, and they're like, take me with you. And kittens especially, right? So little puppies I think are a little different because little puppies just look like little dogs. Kittens look like different animals. Their like heads are tiny and their eyes are so big, and they just look at you and they're like, please.
Yeah, but see, I don't know. I don't have the same connection with cats generally. I would be better at getting a cat, and I could see how interactive, because it's a crapshoot. You get a cat that sits there and looks like a
Right.
stuffed animal and just does nothing and never messes with you, or you got one that meows at you and, will fetch
Right.
stuff and whatever. So I like to see
So-
what the deal is with that.
Both of my cats are like very quiet. They don't meow. But my one cat, who we call Butters, because she is literal butter in your hands. You pick her up and she just flops and will let you do whatever you want to her. She will, the second I come home, take my shoes off, sit down, she's on my lap. She's on my chest. She's on my head. She is sleeping on dad. The other one is like, I need to see you and be in the same room as you. And occasionally I'll even jump on the bed, but I'm going to be at the end of the bed and I'm ready to run at the first second you move. But with me, sometimes she'll come up and lay on my chest or something for about 30 seconds before she's like, okay, I don't like this anymore. I'm getting petted and I'm purring, but I need to go back on the lookout for danger. And I think what it is it's a motherly instinct. Because again, animals, they were wild. We can domesticate them. You can't take the actual instincts out of them. From what I've seen, it's like an instinct of like, she is the protector. She's the older one. She was here first. She's like, okay, I'm responsible now. I can't be cuddly anymore. I have to just, I got to look out for danger. So wherever she is, she surveys the room. I think it's cool. Dogs are more like, do I know you? I'm just going to yell real loud till somebody comes along.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Mine, when I sent that thing to you of Scuba talking, like, I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, he's using, like, he's getting really close to, come on, bro, let's
Yeah,
go outside,
let's go,
right?
man.
And
Are you still here? Let's go.
I thought it was something when I had other people, because it seems like your Huskies and your Malamutes and whatever, they're very vocal, and you've
Right.
got a couple other like types of dogs that are vocal. He on the and I always like, yeah, that's awesome, whatever, bro. Well, dude, when he talks and does whatever, like, it's odd because I spend a lot of time with my dogs. Again, it goes back to the kids, and if you're going to have them, you might as well stay, involved with them or whatever. So the more I'm dealing with them, the more I can see what he's trying to say, and I can see like dude, I'm bored. Like, what are you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, go get me your toy. And he'll look at me like, I want to go outside. And I'm like, dude, I'm doing something. Will you go get a toy? And he'll get a toy and then bitches at me about it. Like,
right. I gotta go get my toy.
Right. And then we'll, and he begins to like, form and whatever. And I guess maybe because I'm so vocal and I thought it was fun until now I'm getting yelled at all day.
You have a wife.
Exactly. No, it's a thing. And I videoed it for you. I videoed it for a few other people. And I'm like, man, this is and it's kind of cool because I know, like, some people will be like, oh, he's just barking loud or making noises. I'm like, no, I'm around him. I know at this time of day, this is what he wants to do. So now I can identify what it is he's trying to say and what he wants. And it's funny because I can see the pain in his little skull going.
Right. Pay attention, listen to me, understand what I'm saying.
And I have full conversations with him, so I'm sure at some point, we're gonna get. I haven't gotten the confirmation of my friend saying if it's gonna be tonight or tomorrow on the go out. The fact that they're not answering me right now might lead to be that they're all already out. I'd really like it to be, tomorrow, that I'm just gonna go out tomorrow, but I don't know. I'm gonna give it until I leave here, and if they don't,
So I it's interesting that you say that because I do that too, right? I'll be like, all right, we were supposed to go out, but I could also just stay home, and I'll like put a timer on it, and I'm like, all right, if they respond to me by 10:30, then I'll go out. But if not, I'm just gonna turn my phone off and go to bed.
Yeah, no. For me, it's kind of like if I go home, if I take my shoes off, there's a 75% chance I'm not gonna go.
Right.
If I go and take my britches off, to get me to put my pants back on is a whole other thing.
Yeah, that is not an easy task. It's not just one leg in, two leg in.
Yeah.
Zip the fly and run out the door.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Cool.
I'm not. I think I could use a drink, right? And I don't technically like drinking. I think I could use a drink, but I would like to save it all for tomorrow. I know what's good. I know that if I get the call or I get the message, I'll go tonight. Then, oh, dude, I'm definitely not going out. By the time like 10:30, 9:30 rolls around or whatever, I'll go out again just because they're still here. So why not? But I'm not going to get crazy. And of course, I'll get crazy and whatever. And when you mentioned so if you leave right from here, and I'm like, no, I got to go let my dogs. And another thing, I got to drop off my car because I Uber everywhere.
You got to Uber.
There is no drinking and driving. There's no excuse to be drinking and driving.
And the thing that I hate it is when you don't plan on drinking, but you go somewhere and then you do, and then you're like, well, I already had one, and so you're like, I'm not gonna drink at the bar. I'm gonna take my buddies to the bar and I'm gonna hang out, but I'm gonna be the responsible one. How many times are you actually the responsible one? Because it never works for me.
Yeah, I'm not.
Because they're always like, oh, just have 1 pint, just 1 pint. Then 1 pint turns into I'm hammered, and we're like, all right, how do we get home? And then you got to go back and do the walk of shame the next morning to get your car from the bar parking lot. And I hate that.
Yeah, I already know because that's why I'm so big on whether I'm going to go or whether I'm not going to go. Because if I make that, mental, I'm going to go.
Right.
I immediately, and it's weird for a guy who doesn't drink. I go with I hang out with a couple people who really like to drink. They're kind of like alcoholics or whatever.
Right.
But when I get there, my first hey, I'm here, right? And I'll just beer. This is neat. Haven't had it in 2 weeks. Boom. I'll drink my first beer before them, and they go, "What the hell?" And I'll drink my first 1 to 3 beers. I kind of just have to.
They just pound them down,
and then. Oh, do you want a shot and whatever? Yeah, I'm not going to sit and slam shots, so I'll sit and sip a shot or whatever. And then my drinking becomes normal. But I immediately just, the first 1, 2, 3 just go so quick, and then I hit a calm level. And it's not like social anxiety. It's just I'm here. I'm not at home. I'm doing whatever. Okay, let me drink. Let me get that one out of the way. Okay, cool. That felt good. That was, thirst quenching.
Yeah.
But after you've just had 3 really quickly and maybe 2 little sips off of Jameson, yeah, at that point, after that first, second beer are on their way, there is no, like, be cool.
Yeah, there is no, all right, I'm good, I'm going to sober up, maybe let me have a water. Like, no, I'm the same way. There does hit a point where it's like, you are in it for the long haul. And that's why you have to be smart now. And like, so when you're 18, it was a lot easier to be like, yeah, we're just going to go to the party and we're going to do whatever and we'll figure it out and woo. But when you get to be 25, it's like a procedure going out. Like, I have to make plans now. Like, you remember when you hit that age where you started having to make plans to go out? You couldn't just call somebody out of the blue and be like, we're going out. And they're like, all right. Now it's like, hey, man, what's your work schedule? Should we go out Friday? Maybe we do it Saturday. Where are we going? Should we call this guy? Should we not? Then there's the drama of like, yeah, well, we really like this guy, but he drinks too much sometimes. And I don't want to put up with it this weekend, so just don't tell him. And it's exhausting.
Well, you know,
being an adult just is exhausting.
Well, and it's good. It's good in a way because I need that to curtail. Because if I was just inundated with, hey, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? I'm like a chick with low self-esteem. You know, I'm not going to say no that much, right?
Right.
I'm going to say yes eventually, and I'm like, balls. I really don't want to say yes. I really don't want to go do this and whatever.
But
okay. And then when I do, all hell breaks loose ish. So the fact that I don't have too many people bugging me. Now, I know that people exist. If I text Rashad right now and like, what's the deal? He'd be like, at the US 12, over. You coming through, Roger? What's your GPS coordinates, whatever? And I'm like, balls, there's Rashad. He seems to be in a good mood. I'll go talk to Rashad for a minute. And then 1 beer, 2 beer, shot, waitress lady, whatever. Holy crap, I'm way
right.
And when you drink every couple weeks, balls.
It doesn't take that much when you stop drinking and you're not every night having a beer, having a shot, whatever it is. All of a sudden, you're like, I've had 3 beers, I'm fine. Then I've had 4 beers, and I'm not okay anymore. It goes 0 to 60 really quick with me.
Yep, it's not a great thing, but I do like that I didn't even have to like, radio shame you into, because I was telling Dodo Bird Kookie before I left. I was like, you know what? I was like, I should see if I can get Al to, just get a glimpse into bachelor pad life, right? Like, hang out and have that'd be awesome. And I went, yeah. I was like, you never know, like with work schedule and whatever. And then you were like, well, depending on how everything goes, man. I mean, you're not going to have 1 or 2 or whatever.
If we get out and around my area and it's not 1 a.m, I might go out and have a beer.
Yeah. Good luck. But yes, when you just like, what is this? Why is everyone so nice? All right, these 2 people seem cool. Yeah, I'll have another one. Hey, dude, it's the accidental have another that get me, but you've got stuff to do tomorrow, so you're an adult.
And that's like, it kind of sucks, but it also doesn't. So, you got the Science Olympiad, and it's not like I got to go do a work thing where I can show up and be like, balls, guys, I was really drunk last night, and I'm feeling like crap, and, give me a minute to get through here. It's like I got to show up and be a respectable adult for kids because for God knows whatever reason they decided to look up to me now.
Yeah, no, it's good to, but maybe not a bad thing too that you let the kids know, that hey, this is life too. Even when you've got cool stuff to do, sometimes you got to suck it up, and you might feel like you're going to vomit in the trash can, or you're going to give your presentation, and maybe you did it, or maybe they did it.
Not to go too far down that vomit in a trash can or give a presentation rabbit hole, I have had to do 2 big presentations on technology for my company that I work for.
Mm-hmm.
Both somehow my dumbass decided to schedule them the day after a giant party for our company. And our company has open bars. And we do imbibe by the open bars. So most people take the next day off, and I scheduled presentations in front of the entire company. The only 2 times I was not feeling it both times. And both times I knocked it out of the park because this is what I do. I get up, I talk to people, I'm funny, I'm like, hey, did everybody have a great party? I don't remember if I did or not. If you saw me, let me know if I look like I was feeling great. Ha ha ha, Al, that's, all right, cool. But I was hungover. I might have still been drunk for one of them. I'm not sure. Like,
yeah, no, I can behave pretty well. the energy, Jake, isn't there.
Right.
But I've still got it at my core that I can power through anything, and I can do. I know I could have done it better with more enthusiasm or any number of things, but
you kind of forget some of the jokes that you wrote. And yeah, it's tough. But when you have this personality of like, this is what we do, we talk, we're funny, we're energetic, it does make it easier. If I didn't have this personality and you made me do that, I'd be like, no, I'm sick, I can't do it, sorry, day off.
Yeah, if I have to look at the longevity of a day, if it's something I can go do and
then just get out, blast out of there.
But if I've got to spend 8 to 10 hours of feeling like death, I'm already hating myself. I'm already doing whatever. Don't get me wrong. I always show up. It's just a
That's
thing.
what God made coffee for, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, coffee and
emergency. Now, pink lemonade emergency is the hangover cure.
Yeah, and so is CBD. Like, the CBD is wonderful.
Well, CBD is the cure of everything, man.
Yeah, no, it
Haven't
really.
you been reading the Stoner News?
No, dude, I already know. Like, the CBD gummies or the vape, like, I can be like, oh, what did I do with my life? And turn my head and just like, ow, ow. And boom, within like 5 minutes, it just, wow, my head doesn't hurt anymore. I feel clear, feel whatever, the little bit of nausea. Everything kind of goes through, and that's about that.
And I'm good.
But yeah, speaking of that, it is Friday. We do need to get out. I do want to. I think this is where I was going with what I was doing a little earlier. I did put some No Ma'am. The fact that people are noticing the No Ma'am behind us.
Yep.
And then I had a few No Ma'am fans in here, and I played. This is one that I saw today that I had never seen. So in closing, I'm going to play, and I got this off YouTube. It is on the Bachelor Pad radio page. But it was some of the Al Bundy-ness that I didn't even know existed, and boy, oh boy, did it make me happy. So let me see. Listen to this for a second. It was when No Ma'am had a church. And I had never seen this before. Oh, and I get. Hey, Tommy, how are you?
Oh,
What's going on, man? All right, well, I see you, so that means I'll be moving up that way. I'll be there shortly.
A guest Tommy appearance, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, he's still there.
Believers, guests, those of you with the deep pockets that got the cushioned seats up front, let me tell you a little story. God created man. Everything was going great. Then Eve came around and said, apple. The one time they offer us something to eat, bam, we wind up selling women's shoes. Now, I know that a lot of you are wondering what the Church of No Ma'am is all about. Hooters!
Hooters.
Yes, but we're also about making the world something it used to be. Back when men were men and women were ribs. Toilet river now! When a driver's side airbag was called a mother-in-law. When a frank conversation with the wife used to begin with, what's for dinner? And ended with, you call that dinner?
Would you like a squeeze?
Oh, yes.
Blot your brow?
Bless you, my child. Though I see you've already been blessed. But it is our mission to bring back the natural order of things. Guy things. Amen. Like barber shops, hardware stores. Those calendars, you lift the cellophane, she's naked in there. I want to bring us back to those times. This is an engine that runs on money. I'm not talking about that unleaded, eco-friendly, tree-hugging, girly jiggling money. You go, preacher man! I'm talking about beer-guzzling, truck-driving, low-riding, belching, fighting, folding money! Now, if no one wants to testify, we'll pass the collection plate.
I want to testify.
A woman!
And there comes Marcy. All right, everybody, that will conclude the full video is on the Bachelor Pad Facebook page. I didn't even know that that episode existed.
Really?
I'm like, how did I miss that and whatever? But I'm sure my boy does. I sent him and was like, dude, are you shitting me? I was like, dude, that is the greatest episode ever in life. Like the No Ma'am Church, which means we gotta kind of to go and get it. So that's what's up. So we're gonna go ahead and conclude this. Al and I are gonna go have a beer.
I do like beer.
And you know what? I may even forego as long as somebody's home and came home and did whatever. I'll drive. I'll try and behave. If I can't, I'll leave my vehicle and I'll just Uber and whatever.
Uber it out.
So that's what's up. So on that note, we're gonna get and thanks everybody for stopping by. Kind of a random Friday show. It is Friday. We assumed that y'all were doing something, so we didn't get too heavy into stuff. But we're gonna keep pushing the No Ma'am. I think it was a sign from Al Bundy God that and the shirt hanging above my head that we had to push some No Ma'am stuff. So I think we're going to go I'm going to do a little work on the No Ma'am over the weekend. And in the meantime, I'm going to go get some glitter on my face and have a beer.
All right.
All right. On that note, we are out. Goodbye, Facebook Live. We will see you all on Monday.
See you.
1, 2, 3, 4. I am Spanish. Finish.
I am Spanito.
Stop streaming.